Welcome, 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 and welcome to day 19 of the 30-day Men Arise Challenge. We are glad that you are here. We're glad that you have been with us from day one up till now. And it has been wonderful. We've been blessed with so much call to action, so much call to turn around, so much call to arising to what is necessary for the becoming of men, for the becoming of husbands, for the becoming of fathers. It's been awesome, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. Myself, I've been blessed. For those who have been supportive, encouraging in their words, we're grateful. We thank you. We celebrate you. We are beyond words. Thankful that you have been helpful in the ways that you have been. Please keep it up and don't stop. For those who have taken actions, who have made moves, who have implemented in any way, you are the true MVP. This is the reason why we have this initiative came up in the first place. This is the reason. And this, if it's been achieved with you in your life, then we are beyond words glad, beyond words. I Today is a very key one, also very key one, because it doesn't necessarily apply to many people, but in areas where it applies to men, where it applies to fathers, where it applies to young men, it can keep us from shining forth, can keep us from thriving, can keep us from facing the future. And it is something that is called the past. It's called something that is called the past. We talked about a couple of things. We talked about things that happened in the past. We talked about need to make amends. We talked about going to rebuild relationship. Some things that has to do with reflecting on what had happened in the past and making certain taking certain actions to make sure things are put in place as concerns what had happened in the past. However, there is a way that this past can hold a man bound and stop the man from progressing into the future, from forging ahead, from laying claims or laying hold on the things that God has for the man to thrive in, just because of the thoughts of the past in some way. So let's go into the text. The text is an interesting and unique one that you mostly wouldn't think about. And it is the story of David. We've not even looked at David since we started. I mean, we looked at lots of men. We looked at Ananias. We looked at Paul. We looked at Elijah. All sorts of men. We've not looked at David. So, but let's touch on what happened with David. This is Second Samuel chapter 12 and verse 20. I would usually, like my practice, right? I will go back just a step. So let's start from verse 19. This was a story of him, collecting someone else's wife, and wrongfully so, killed the man in the process of collecting his wife. For those who don't know the story, it's a very interesting story. Open to the book of Second Samuel chapter 12 and enjoy the story. Now, after doing all this, and God called him out, the Bible says that the wife he coveted got pregnant and gave birth. Now, she gave birth and the child was sickly. Now, the Bible says eventually the child died. Before the child died, he got sober, then he started asking for forgiveness from God. Trust to seek God's face and appease and get God to forgive him out. And then he'll be able to still have all those things he desired, to have the woman, to have the children and all that. And the Bible says the child died. The child died. Now in verse 19 of 2 Samuel chapter 12 says, but when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore, David said unto his servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead. Now see what he did. And this is key, because here He was battling with guilt, guilt from the things that he had done. He was also battling the grief of the child that had died, even though he loved the child so much. Bible says, then David arose. You need to arise. If you are that man that some sort of guilt has held you bound, it is time that you make a decision by yourself to arise out of that guilt. If you are that man that grieve of some sort, any form of grief, maybe you're bereaved of someone and you felt that it was your fault that that person died, or it is something between you and your wife. Maybe you lost a child, you lost an opportunity, you were not able to start a particular career, she didn't start a particular career, and you guys feel that that has cost you some great loss. It is time to stop nursing that grave. It is time to stop nursing that guilt. It is time to arise out of that guilt and grief and to arise into glory, into the glory that God has created. It is time. It is time to do that. It's time to do that. Going on, it says, and David arose from the earth. He was in the earth where he had them, the way they normally would do when they are mourning. He had sackcloth, he had this and this on his head and all that. So they arose out of the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel. Anointed himself, he used cream, the best of cream, and changed his apparel, wore new clothes, and came into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he came to his own house. When when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. They set bread before him, and he did it. When he required, he requested for it. They set bread before him, and did it. So I'll stop there. But I might read 21 later, but I'll stop there. You need to arise out of that grief. Now, we've heard in counseling room stories, true life stories of people, marriages that never made it because they had miscarriages. Now, going through a miscarriage is very grievous. But sometimes when you think it was because your wife was careless, or the wife believes that it's because the husband was not as caring as was supposed to be, or exposed that to some sort of danger or some sort of stress. That's the reason why they lost the baby. And many marriages never make it past that kind of grief. They never make it past that kind of grief. They never make it. Some men, because they probably maybe seen their wife or perceived that their wife cheated on them before, they can't make it past that. Even if that cheating happened when they were dating, the fact that they realize it later, they can't make it past that grief. And grieving the fact that they were deceived. They're grieving the fact that they were made to look like a fool to everybody that knew back then. So everybody knew, but I didn't know. You're just nursing that grief. That grief it has a very strong grip on you. Strong grip. Some you are in your 50s, you're in your 60s, 70s, and you are still battling the grief of the fact that, oh, my husband did not allow me to do so job that I should have done, or so career I could have entered into. I would have been here and here now. You're not God. Who told you that if you had studied or you had done that career, you'd have made it big? Let's say you would have. That grief is holding you back from enjoying the glory that is ahead. Some young men, because they probably saw their father cheat on their mom several times, they are battling that grief, and because of that, they can't even release themselves to love. Some maybe they saw their father beat their mother, or they saw their mother cheat on their father. I mean, they can't just get past it. They can't get past it, especially for the young men who have been disappointed in relationships. You've been disappointed in the relationship. You've been left all by yourself. You've been given rude shocks. You found out that the person you felt you're dating and you're going to get married to was getting married. You found out the day they were getting married, that they were getting married to someone else. And because of that, you are grieved You are grieved to the extent that you're ready to go on a rampage and be a serial dater. You are battling with grief, and that grief it has a very strong hold on your destiny. It has a very strong hold on the so much potential you have. That grief is suppressing it. It is grief. It is grief. Some men, you have gone on so much escapade and so much rampage that your body count is no more a count. It cannot be counted. And because of that, you're battling the guilt of I cannot be used by God. You've relegated yourself and regimented yourself to I am among those who can just live this life as a wasted man. I can't settle down. I don't need anything. I just want to enjoy myself for the rest of my life. Some of us are meant for hellfire. Who? Who told you that you should reduce yourself to that? Some because of that guilt, you don't want to participate in anything God. You don't want any mention of God. You scorn God. Some because you lost your loved ones. You lost your mom, your dad. You're battling the grief. And that's not allowing you to release yourself, to be able to love others, to be able to go into a good relationship and be able to get settled and get married. That grief and that guilt is holding you down. If that guilt is what is holding you from having a healthy relationship, or is that guilt that is holding you back from having a happy marriage, then today, God has sent me to you that you need to be released from that guilt or that grief. You need to be released from it. It is in the past. And if you do not leave the past behind, you can't move ahead. If you do not leave the past behind, you can't move ahead. If you read further down there, David explained, and I will touch on the things that David did when he was coming out of the grief so that I can guide on some of the steps that we believe that you should take for you to be able to come out of this guilt or come out of this grief. There are some of my very good daughters, very good sons that I used to know, but because they made some decisions, some wrong turns in life, maybe dated the wrong person, went the wrong direction, did some escapades, they've reduced themselves to the oblivion. They just disappear, just disappear to nowhere. And what you do not know is that the years are counting, the months are counting, the weeks are counting, the hours are counting. Before you know what's happening, you are 50, you are 60, and then you're looking back and you're asking yourself, what happened? What happened is you panicked because you made a wrong move. You put yourself in a box that is called guilt, and you reduced yourself to that box when you have the whole world for you to benefit from. You have the whole world to benefit from. You keep yourself in a box. Come out of that guilt. Come out of that guilt. The Father that you serve, the God that I serve, is a merciful God. The apostles, Apostle Paul described himself. He said, I am a vessel of God's mercy. I pride myself in calling myself that. And not because I feel maybe I've done escapade or anything. It is still by mercy. Irrespective of how good you think I am, or gooder, if there's any word like that. I am a product. I'm a complete product of God's complete mercy. Call yourself so. Come out of that guilt. Come out of that grief today. Let me just quickly read what David said, and we can look at some of the steps. In verse 21, when he did this, he said, then said his servant unto him, what thing is this that thou hast done? Like, I don't get it. Like, this is not a procedure. This is not the protocol of the world. When you are in this box, you're supposed to remain in the box. But he said, what thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive. But when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. 22 said, and David said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba, his wife. I mean, he made amends. He made amends and went on to work. And it was from this relationship this moving forward that Samuel came forth. That Samuel came forth. Samuel was born out of love, was born out of joy, he wasn't born out of guilt. Don't progress in your life in guilt. Don't progress in your life with grief. And I really seriously need to touch on this. If you feel that as a single, that's one of the things that is holding you back. The girl broke your heart. She broke your heart so badly. They are so rudely shocked that you can never trust anybody again. You need some sort of counseling therapy, healing. So look for a way to get a session. Look for a way to get a session so that you can at least know some things to some moves to make to be able to come out of that grief. Because that grief has already denied you of many things and it has the high potential to deny you for much more. So moves needs to be made. Arise out of that guilt, that grief. Arise out of it. She's gone. She has gone. She has even probably married another person. She's living her life. Don't let her keep you bound. And this applies to ladies also. But because we're focused more on men with this challenge, I want you men not to allow any lady. That lady has said that you are useless, you don't even have money, you are not up to my standard. Don't battle with that grief. Don't battle with that grief. You suffered, you sent her to school, which you're not supposed to actually do if you're not married, right? But you sent her to school, you spend this money, you spent your time, you spent yourself, but now she has left you and she has gone with someone else that seems to be doing way better than you. Don't reduce yourself to nothing because someone else seems to be doing better than you. You have potential in you. Embrace the potential. Leave the past. Embrace the potential that you have. Leave the past behind. And the most important part for me is husbands and wives that are still living under the same roof. We are still calling them husband and wife. Some of them were even saying that they are lovebirds, but you know in your heart that you are still nursing one form of grief or the other. Create time and iron that grief out. I don't care what proof you have that it is your wife's fault, that whatever happened that happened to you guys or to you. I don't care whether you believe it's your husband's absolute fault that whatever bad that happened to you had happened. I don't care whether you feel that it was because your husband was insistent. That's the reason why you lost that money. If you don't deal with that grief that is hurting your heart, whenever you see your friends, you see them doing well, and you're like, this is how well I would have been doing. If not that my husband made this wrong move, if not that my husband did not allow me to make this move, you need to deal with that grief. Because if both of you are going to work together in unison, just like it was mentioned in one of the days, that you need trust for you to be able to work together as husband and wife. The same way, if you have not removed grief caused by each other for each other from your heart so that you can work together in peace, work together with a clean heart, you have reduced how much you can achieve together as husband and wife. So it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. Whatever you think as is your wife's fault. It's my wife that did this to me. If not for my wife, I would have done this. You need to battle that grief. You need to put it behind you. Arise out of the guilt. Arise out of the grief. Arise out of it. Arise out of it because it's holding you down. Let's look at some of the steps for you to be able to arise out of this. Number one is the change of position. He was seated in the dust, blah, 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 but he got up. He got up. He got up. You need to get up. You need to get up. You need to get up. Enough of just talking transactionally in your house. Enough of just talking transactionally. Just we need to go grocery shopping. We're out of supplies. We need to pay the bills. That's the only conversation you're having now. Where is the energy? You come back to your house, you come back dejected because you're looking at your wife and she's annoying you or irritating you because you feel that there's some things that she has done to hurt you or there's some things that she has done to grieve your heart. Or you come to your house and they are talking about men that are studying Bible with their son, their children, that are teaching their children the ways of God, that are going to church with their children, and you're like, "You people should leave me out of it. Let the pastors do their church." Because you feel you're so guilty that, oh, I've been all over the place. So I cannot actually be in this position for these children. No, no, no. I remember one of my very good friends, he was so accountable that he said it, that even though I know I am still working on myself and beginning to become, and we know that we are looking at two people ahead. I was talking to one other mentor of mine. He said that I keep making the effort so that I'll get there. Because you are those children's father. So you are the one they are going to look at. Irrespective of what any of us do out there, they will always still see us as one father or one stranger out there. Their own father is going to be that image that they'll be looking at and replicating. So you need to arise to your position, arise to your duty. Stop saying, "Oh, they didn't teach me how to pray in my own case. They didn't teach me how to fast. Just leave John, whatever it is he's doing. Let me just do my own." Arise, arise out of the guilt. Leave the past in the past. When your wife, even if your wife smile or laughs at you and like, you two want to start praying, tell her, yes, I've left the past in the past. Now I'm moving on. Because if you do not leave the past in the past, it's easier for the devil to bring back the past to your reality. Because he will tell you that, what have you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. Just live your life, just enjoy yourself. So change position of your heart, change the position of your heart. Change position of your heart from downwardness, from gloominess to joy. Change it to joy. Change it to action. Change it to standing posture. Ready to act. Ready to make move. Ready to do what you need to do. Ready to move ahead. Change the position of your heart. Change the position of your heart. Change the position of your heart. Next thing he says after he changes, he got up, he washed himself, anointed himself, changed his apparel, and came into the house of God. So there's a lot you need to do on your mind. And a lot to do on your mind also has a lot to do with declarations that you do on your mind and what you now begin to feed on. Begin to feed on things that are going to bring your eyes shining. He said he anointed himself. He washed himself. He changed his looks. You understand? There are things you need to remove. Begin to remove them. And say, I won't think this thought again. My wife is not bad. Whatever happened to me in the past is in the past. Whatever happened to me in the past, I'm not at fault for it. Or even though I was the one who did it, I am now a vessel of mercy. Declare upon yourself. Declare upon yourself. Wash yourself. Meet yourself up. And next is go into the house of the Lord. See that arise to gratitude that we talked about. I don't know whether it was day 6 or day 5. Go back to it. Arise to gratitude. Say, God, I know that so years might have been wasted because of this action that led to this greed or that led to this guilt. And a lot of years have also been wasted nursing this grief and this guilt. But I believe that you have glorious days ahead. I thank you because from now on, I can begin to do exploit. I can begin to do great things. I can begin to function in beautiful ways. Say it. Declare it over yourself. Thank God for it. Thank God. I'm going to the house of the Lord. Going to the house of the Lord. Ask God, God, this had happened in the past, but I know that you are the God who knows the future. What should I begin to do for a better future, for a more beautiful future? Stop dwelling in the past. The past is heating up everything. We need to stop it in its tracks. It's eating up everything that's supposed to be glorious about you. Go into the house of the Lord. Go and sit down with God and talk about it. So that the effort that you have made by consuming good things, start consuming good content. Consuming good content. Open YouTube and go for good content. The ones that can get you to start thinking in the forward direction instead of the backward direction. Start. And then sit down with God. Sit down with God. Sit down with God. And then the last thing he said, he had food. He asked, he requested for it. He requested for it. That was the most amazing part for me. He said, then he came to his own house. Go to your own house. Go to your own house. Go to your own house. There's not necessarily any better about wife anywhere for you. You have a good wife already. Every good thing you need is already in your wife. Go into your own house. Say when you go to your own house, and when you require a set bread before him, and he did it. When you demand of life, so the last part is now demand of life, that good report that you want. What do you want them to write on your tombstone when you die? What do you want them to say about you when you die as a man? Is it that, oh, he lived a lot of escapade life, and after that, he was just a man, he had family, he had children, so survived by wife and children. Sure, yeah, man has gone. No, what do you want them to say about you? What do you want them to say about you? Because you need to sit down and think about it. What do you want your children to say about you? You want your children to say, yeah, my daddy, you were just a daddy shark. What do you want them to say about you? You need to start demanding it of life. That I want to be a good man. I want to be a man that can boast of that. Oh, from 2026, he began to love his wife erratically. He began to do great things in his life. He began to walk with God in 2026. Be that kind of man. Request for what you want. Require good things of your future. That I want to be this and this. Carry it to God. Carry the plan to God. Let God tell you whether that plan is even big enough. Because most times when we carry a plan to God, it's not as big as what God has in mind for us. Carry the plan to God. That God, oh, I sat down, meditated, and I thought of this. I think I can be this kind of man. I think I can be that. I think I can do this thing that John is doing. Because I need more men to rise up to doing that. I think I can do this thing. I can do it for like 10 men. Gather 10 men. Teach your life lesson. That life lesson that you feel should make you be feel full of guilt or to be full of grief. Teach them and teach them that this is how I surmounted it. And I'm here today. Arise, arise out of that guilt and that grief is inside and is eating, just like acid is eating everything on the inside. Is consuming the future. It's messy back there, but it's capable of consuming the future, and you do not want your future to disappear right in front of your eyes. Grab hold of the glory that is ahead today by arising out of grief and arising out of guilt. Thank you so much for joining us on day 19. We hope that you watch the end. If you watch the end, you are the true VIP. Want you to share with friends, share with family, share with as many men as you can. And I will look forward to you joining us together again tomorrow for day 20 of the 30-day Men Arise challenge. Men will arise. Men are rising. And the Lord will be glorified with our rising. We will get beautiful results. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.